What would you say you do here?
Well, look, I already told you. I deal with the goddamn customers so the engineers don't have to. I have people skills. I am good at dealing with people. Can't you understand that? What the hell is wrong with you people?
Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes. A couple of days ago, well, I guess late last week, I was talking about the new Infinity comics from Marvel that were going to be on the Marvel Unlimited app. There's a set of them. They said they were going to go more patriotic with Captain America. I said, well, that could be refreshing, but I would have to read it before I would ever let my son look at it. And it turns out my trepidation was well-founded. And here to talk with me about that is comic book editor, just a good guy, Aaron Sparrow. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Thank you for that intro. I think you're a good guy too, Wes.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Obviously, I was apprehensive for a reason when they said, we're going patriotic with this Infinity comic, Captain America. And I said, I would have to look at that before I let my children see it. It turns out, yeah, it's basically a bunch of crap. And it is the laziest writing you've ever seen in your life.
I would be trepidatious as well, because I'd have to believe that anyone at Marvel or hired by Marvel is patriotic enough to write a book that would be considered patriotic. So, yeah. And
I believe
what a book it is.
I believe this is Jay Edidin. Is that his name?
I believe so, yes.
There you go. So let's look at a couple of these examples of this exemplary writing. It's no corners cut here.
Now,
it's just
let me say, I am not familiar with anything else that Jay has written, so I have no frame of reference for this writer except for this story.
Well, I think the story is enough. This will leave a lasting impression, right?
Yeah, it definitely left a lasting impression on me.
So we do have a few snippets of the laziest stuff and just an idea of what this comic book is. And, it's just when you think Marvel can't stoop any lower, Aaron, they set the bar even lower. They do it. They're like, hey, you thought we couldn't do anything lazier or dumber. We'll show you how it's done. You know what I mean? Hold my beer. I got this. So this is the first thing I had seen on social media. I hadn't actually read the comic book yet. And this is where he's talking to a leader, and it says national platitudes, because obviously this person is a nationalist.
An attractive costume that the guy's got going. Is he talking to a cosplayer? That was there's nothing about this story that I could take seriously.
No, there's nothing about this period. I get what he's going for here, but if you're gonna, make a story about this, can't you at least have the decency to, put some nationalist platitudes in there and maybe, put a little work into it, a little effort?
Well, this is the problem. The problem is that this is basically Twitter in comic book form, which is just, I'm going to label something, but not actually make my point as to why it's wrong or what it is. I'm just going to build a straw man. This is literally a straw man in comic book form, and so like the question is, are there nationalist platitudes actually written out behind those black bars? No, there's not. They just said, I'm going to do these black bars and I'm just going to put in nationalist platitudes. And you all know what I mean, except that I don't. I don't know what you mean, because you didn't have the courage or the ability to write it. You didn't take the time to sit down and actually craft a character. You just put a straw man in a word balloon, and I'm supposed to accept your word for it that what this character is saying is vile. But you didn't have the courage to actually write vile dialogue.
Yeah, it's the laziest thing in the world. I saw some people going, way to go, Jay. You can't platform these ideas. It's like, but you're not talking about anything.
No, you're not. And it's not.
What conversation are we having here?
How is it that comic books throughout their history have been able to maturely handle these types of issues and these types of stories? But now we've hit this point where it's like, well, we can't even tell you how horrible this is. It's so horrible. Well, it's because you don't know what you're talking about. You obviously don't have anything that you can put in there that's going to make me go, yeah, I absolutely hate this character. Because your arguments are straw man arguments. And so that's what
can you imagine? Here.
It's just,
if on Captain America #1, instead of, Captain America punching out Hitler, you just had a black outline and it said fascist leader.
Yeah.
What a statement! Woo!
I
Like you
look,
show them.
I know Marvel's page rates right now are not the greatest. I know that they're not, but come on. You can't even be bothered to write some dialogue. You can't even be bothered to to try and tell a story or try and craft a character, something for Cap to actually stand up against. This is nonsense. This is the lowest common denominator of just get it out there, flood the shelves. We're not even trying. There's no editor. There's nobody. The fact that this made it past an editor's desk is unbelievable to me.
I'm trying to find this editor's name. Where is it? Oh, it's going to be at the bottom. I made a mistake. I'm going to find it. We're going to talk about this editor because
Well, I gotta see some more images before we get into.
Alana Smith. Shocking. The editor is Alana Smith.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. This is encouraged.
The editor that said, "We will remember those who voted for Trump and they will not be allowed to work here again." So here's the next one where I guess Cap is sitting. He's in a bar and there's some guys yelling something incredibly racist.
Something incredibly racist.
Like what?
You know what I dislike?
Are they yelling something incredibly racist about white people, black people, Latinos, Asians? Who are they being incredibly racist about?
Well, they're white guys, Wes, so they're obviously racist. Just they were born racist. So everything.
Yeah, but if it's something incredibly racist about white people, they could just be, self-deprecating.
Maybe
You know what I mean?
What if they're engaging in racist stereotypes that don't have any basis in fact? They're just trying to make some up. They're like, hey, why do the Italians own all the locksmith shops?
That would make a whole lot of sense. But Jay Edited might put something like that in there. And Alana Smith, the editor, probably would let that get by. They wouldn't even know that was balderdash or hogwash.
I'm Italian, so I can talk about how we all secretly own the locksmith shops. So nobody.
Well, if you're Italian, that also means that you're secretly kind of a. Well, let's not talk about Como, right? I'm Italian. What was I supposed to do?
Hey, well, hey, I'm Italian. I'm over here, just groping people over here because it's just Italian. As an Italian, I found that incredibly offensive.
Maybe they should have put that in there in the thing. It's like all Italians grope women.
Yeah,
you would have been able to make a statement.
Right, you could have changed that to Cuomo, and it would have been a nice little bit.
But obviously, more laziness. But it does continue on, not shockingly. Here we've got one where we've got a message. Seriously, who says this in public? Who says what? Not really sure, but it sounds like they're supposedly saying something that you just wouldn't say in public. And if Captain America, Steve Rogers, who's having a little R&R and having a drink, allows this to go on, it's like he's endorsing the message.
Is that him?
I believe that's the message.
Partying with them. I endorse your values in the name of America. That's supposed to be him. Like, wow, this is sloppy.
It's not writing.
No.
This is not writing.
Well, Marvel doesn't really.
This isn't even like after school special quality writing. This wouldn't make it on Lifetime channel because it's not real enough.
When did Marvel become Black Mask?
I don't think Black Mask would produce this.
No,
this feels lower than them.
You're probably right. No, actually, you know what? Even Ignited was better than this, and that was propaganda. Just not even thinly veiled propaganda. It was just outright propaganda. And this doesn't even really qualify as propaganda because propaganda at least has structure. And they would say some things. This is nonsense.
It is nonsense. It's the lazy, you can only say the word lazy, I guess, so many times. Or before I become lazy myself, I need to come up with some new synonyms for it. But when you see this and you think someone got paid for this, Aaron.
Well, I mean, did barely.
Yeah, but they got paid for doing work. There's somebody out there that would have loved this opportunity to write a Captain America Infinity comic, the first ever kind of digitally formatted Captain America comic on Marvel Unlimited. And they probably had a fun story to write. And this is what they decided to go with.
Maybe this is what they were given to do. This could be Alana Smith handing down an edict of this is what we want. And then, So I'm not gonna, it's like, man, I would never want my name on this. Remember when Jesse Snyder was on your channel and he told that story about that writer that said, I do as many drafts as the page rate, is basically, so if the page rate is low, I just do one draft and I don't care. And Jesse was like, but your name is on it. Like, how do you like, whatever my page rate is, I swing for the fences because I want everything that I do to be good. And this is just not what's going on at Marvel right now. It's like, this is good enough for who it's for.
Aaron, I just want to say, I endorse your values in the name of America. Right? That's how people talk.
My values are solid storytelling and and good characterizations and compelling action and adventure and inspiring entertainment. So I'm glad that you endorse those values, Wes, in the name of America.
It still doesn't pass the smell test. Let's sit this next one. And he's talking obviously to this leader. Probably not quite the legacy George was shooting for there. Probably talking about George. You think he's talking about George Bush or George Washington?
I think he's talking about George Washington.
Most likely. And he says,
is this guy a pirate? What is this guy? What is going on in this book? Or this, it's not even really a book, is it? What's going on in this digital, quote unquote, story?
This, the propaganda pamphlet thinly veiled racist joke.
Well, I mean, the guy's a pirate. What do you expect?
Yeah.
He's from the 1600s. Look at his outfit. Is that the son of Commander Kraken? What is going on here?
You know what? We don't get enough opportunities to tell fun, thinly veiled racist jokes in entertainment anymore. He actually has the perfect opportunity to make somebody laugh at something that maybe they're not supposed to, and he just wastes it. You know what I mean? This could have been entertaining.
I'm going to start saying this like when I'm out with people. I'm just going to be like, ha, 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 thinly veiled racist joke. And then they'll respond to me. Who says this in public? Seriously. That'll be our whole conversation. It'll be fantastic.
I endorse your message in the name of America. And the waitress is looking at you. Is like, I just asked if you want a dessert. I endorse your message. Get out of here. Oh my goodness. Let's look at some more of this.
Or American.
Inaccurate historical reference.
Okay, what is that? What is that reference? He's been going on like this for an hour. So he has just been saying various phrases for an hour. I can understand why Cap is uncomfortable. If I was in a room with a guy,
well, Cap's taking notes. He's taking notes on this stuff.
If a guy was pointing at a table in front of me and saying inaccurate historical reference, thinly veiled racist joke, if those words were coming out of his mouth, I'd be like, this is bizarre. This reminds me of, except it's not being played for laughs. It's they think that this is really smart and powerful. But this reminds me of Ron Burgundy saying, "We are laughing, we are friends, enjoying each other's company." But even that was, that was funny. That was well done. This is sad. It is sad to me what Marvel.
It's a sad commentary on the state of Marvel, the state of comic books,
and the state of writing.
They want to cover something that's supposed to be serious here, but they're so scared of actually putting the words on paper that they're afraid to start the conversation or even let you really know what they're talking about.
Well, maybe they should be afraid because this is the audience.
It's a thinly veiled attempt at writing.
Yeah, this is the audience that they've created by catering to the psychopaths on Twitter, because these psychopaths on Twitter believe that anything that you write a character saying means that you endorse it and believe it. And so this is where that terror leads you to. It leads you to toothless entertainment. I can't even call this entertainment. It just leads you to this garbage. This is just completely toothless, completely meaningless. This is empty. It's not even empty calories. Like, this isn't even popcorn at the movies. This is pathetic. I am so sad.
It's water that someone took a piss in. And you're like, well, the water would have been fine if you hadn't urinated in it, but now it's no good. I don't want this.
Well, apparently that one person on Twitter who said, this is brilliant. Apparently they enjoy that water that's been urinated in.
I guess we don't. This is why we can't have real villains anymore, right? Because if they did something villainous, that would, that could be perceived as someone endorsing that. Or if you said that was your favorite story, oh, you support what that villain was doing? Well, no, actually, I supported when the hero stopped him
Yeah.
But if that's where we're going to go with this, I guess.
So does that mean that, by the transitive factor, Ta-Nehisi Coates supports the words of Jordan Peterson, since he put Jordan Peterson's words into the Red Skull's mouth, since he wrote that into a story? So he's like the biggest Jordan Peterson fan, I guess. I've been looking at this all wrong, Wes. Oh man!
What's funny is we make fun of Ta-Nehisi Coates and his attempt at writing Captain America, but at least he had the chutzpah or even the testicular fortitude to put on what he was trying to represent on paper and own it.
I guess. I mean, I don't have much respect for what he did either. I think that's extreme.
Nor do I. But at least he did it.
He did it. He wrote he typed dialogue into a keyboard. He didn't just even if he was just cutting and pasting from Jordan Peterson articles. At least he went that far. He didn't just do this.
Max Bemis naming a villain after Doug Ernst took more balls than writing this story.
It absolutely did. Isn't this exactly the same thing that everybody mocked when they did it in Angela? Yes. Unsolicited opinions on Israel. Like this is what passes for cleverness.
It's not passing. That's what we're covering it here. Nobody has read this, or everybody would be mocking it as well. We're just amplifying just how stupid, ridiculous, and lazy Alana Smith, C.B. Cebulski, Jay Edidin, the entire leadership at Marvel, Tom Brevoort's name is on this. And hey, this is what Infinity Comics is. Is this something that's going to bring you into Marvel Unlimited? Fuck no.
This passed their desks. That's the real tragedy here.
It passed the smell test.
I've tried to give leeway. I've been on your channel before, and I've talked about how editors are overworked, and these people aren't making a lot of money. And there's probably things that slip past. But there's no way that this is something that just slipped past. This is endorsed, and I cannot believe that everybody at Marvel hasn't been fired from top to bottom. I don't know why this company exists anymore. I don't know what they're doing. They're not in the business of entertainment. They're not in the business of telling stories. This isn't even, they're not even in the business of propaganda anymore. This is just putting things on a page and and putting it out there. I'm at a loss. I'm done. I'm at a loss. I don't know what else to say.
Well, here's the last image, because you got to talk about Nazis. We've got a supply and demand issue with Nazis nowadays, Aaron. I don't know if you've noticed. Everyone demands to see Nazis. There aren't actually really many Nazis left in the world. Captain America is someone that, in his history has actually fought a Nazi. And so him saying this is absolutely ridiculous. Send me in. I'll take him down. I'll even do it with a smile. But I'm not shaking hands with homegrown Nazis on national TV.
I don't even understand. Like, the context of this makes no sense in the story. It's like, I'll take them down. I'll even do it with a smile. Okay, so you're opposed to the Nazis, but I'm not shaking hands with homegrown Nazis on national TV. Well, that line of dialogue completely contradicts what you were saying at the beginning. So what is it that you're being asked to do here?
I think it's to talk to Nazis on TV, but it's still, he would know what a real Nazi is because he actually fought Nazis.
But the writers don't, and that's the problem. This is like when you when you give Dan Slott a character like Tony Stark, who's a millionaire playboy scientific genius, and he's just completely out of his depth because he is none of those things, and he doesn't have the imagination to think about what it would be like and to write an accurate portrayal. None of the people who write Captain America, they don't understand American exceptionalism. They don't understand history. They don't understand what it means to be a hero. They don't understand heroism in general. And they're writing Captain freaking America. Captain America in name only. This is embarrassing. This is sad. This makes me feel like I have wasted my life. I have wasted my fandom. That these characters have been around so long, to see them brought so low when they were so great just not that long ago. In my childhood, and even as an adult, there were still great stories being told. And just in the last 6-7 years, it's all been destroyed. And I don't know that there's any coming back from this. I don't know there's any. Once the rot has hit this level within your company, I don't think there's any fixing it. And it just makes me sad inside.
Yeah. There's no doubt that Jay Edidin and Alana Smith as they sit in their apartments doing their work with their, their fucking 40-ounce latte, think they're actually fighting Nazis with shit like this, not realizing they're just driving fans away with bad comic books. You don't actually fight Nazis. None of you have ever actually been in combat. You've never sacrificed any part of your life for the common good of any of your neighbors. You're just producing bad comic books at this point, and you're embarrassing yourselves, and you're ruining what should be an A-list character for Marvel. And hey, I was hesitant when they said we're going patriotic on Captain America. Nowadays, patriotic is just a bunch of nonsense. It's hogwash is too kind a word to describe what's actually in this stupid Infinity comic Captain America. And hey, Marvel has hit a new bot. They bottomed out once again, and that's who Marvel is now.
There's so many stories that you can tell where Captain America is actually displeased with believing in the American ideal, believing in what this country should be, does not mean that you rubber stamp everything that this country has done in its history, everything that the government is doing today. There's all kinds of stories that you can tell. You can have Captain America fighting Nazis if you want. There's not that many of them that exist in real life, but in the Marvel universe, you've got Hydra, you've got the Red Skull, you've got the Hate Monger, you've got all these characters to draw from. You've got Baron von Strucker, you've got just no end of stories that you can tell and stories that you can create. And instead, this is what they give us, because they don't have any imagination. They can't live outside of their own egos and their own bubble and their own virtue signaling. And so this is what we get. And why do we even bother? Why do we even bother looking at this trash anymore? It's just, I've got my comic collection from years past. I'll go back and read some Mark Gruenwald. I'll go back and read some Ed Brubaker. I'll go back through John Byrne's stories. All these great creators that understood and cared about these characters and felt a responsibility not only to the legacy of the things that they had loved, but to the next generation who was going to take the reins. They wanted to hand them this, and better than they had found it. And that's not the way it is anymore. Now it's tear it all down, deconstruct it all. None of this matters to them. It's just depressing.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Aaron. I really appreciate the time.